Kathy, and today we are doing a Grayson Gavel Live, which is a two-part series. The woman who walked away after the crash and was never seen again, and Grayson Gavel Part 2, everyone thought he was paranoid until he vanished. So, she survived the crash. Witnesses saw her walking afterward. Then somehow she vanished. Ultimately, we know that Patricia Meehan was involved in a car accident in, I believe, 1989. And it was a minor accident in which she got up and she walked away. Witnesses saw her walking afterward, and then somehow, before help came, she vanished. There have been witness sightings of her, but she has not been conclusively found since approximately 1989. So clearly something happened along the way from her walking away from the crash. Did she succumb to the elements? Did she have a psychological break potentially? I mean, that's a possibility. Was she injured or disoriented? Because people said that there was something off about her that they noticed as she's leaving. Also, maybe exposure or environmental theories. I mean, could she have fallen somewhere and gotten lost, or could she have ended up in a body of water? Like, where did she end up? Or did someone pick her up and take her somewhere and then, have some foul play or something along those lines? And abandoned car cases fascinate audiences because the car is so symbolic of the United States, right? So symbolic of our country. People use a car to go everywhere. They use a car to spend time with their family. They use a car to travel to their family. They travel back home. A car is a symbol of American life, right? And so when people are in their car, they're safe. Why would they get out of their car? A lot of people have questions about that. And honestly, there's a legal standard, missing versus presumed deceased. And generally the family has to file that. And I believe there's generally can be like a 6-7 year, depending on what particular state that person is from. And so ultimately you can keep going with, missing, so to speak, but after a certain number of years, you can actually get them to declare them likely legally deceased or presumed deceased. And so cases without bodies can be extremely haunting because there's that missing element where people want their loved ones to be brought back home. They want them to be able to put them near their home where they're safe, where they can visit them. And so how does someone disappear in plain sight, right? That's kind of what you wonder, and no one knows where they went. And witnesses saw her and still nobody knows where she went. That's even more confusing and frustrating. So part 2 is everyone thought he was paranoid until he vanished. So the 911 call made Brandon Lawson sound irrational to some people, but what if fear and confusion are not the same thing, right? Ultimately, there was this public assumption that maybe he had been drinking, maybe he was under the influence of alcohol, and so some of his words were muddled. There was if you listen to the 911 tape, and it's actually on YouTube if you want to check it out, it's Brandon Lawson 911 tape. You can actually hear a lot of things, or a lot of people hear a lot of different things. It's really difficult to actually make heads or tails of it in some ways. But he does say something along the lines of he felt that he was being chased. Some people were saying that he was mentioning potentially like Mexican gentlemen chasing him. And there were 2 cars on either side is what he had said, something along the lines of, and that he needed 911 and he needed the police to come right then. He had also ran out of gas. I believe his cell phone was almost going dead. There was a lot of issues there. And so a lot of people have this idea of hindsight bias where they listen to things and then they view them through their own lens. There's really no proof for them, but they're trying to essentially Monday morning quarterback kind of thing. And also it's like, was it substance use or was it a legitimate fear? Again, he ultimately disappeared, as you all probably know the story. And also the psychology of distress calls. I mean, you think about, you're in the middle of nowhere, you've run out of gas, your cell phone's about ready to die, like the dispatcher's not fully understanding you, you're asking for help. Like, who isn't going to be distressed in that situation? And ultimately, ambiguous behavior complicates investigations because people don't fully understand the person's mindset because they can't talk to the person. And there's search challenges at night for rural terrain. It's my understanding he was pretty close to the oil fields in Texas, as well as public obsession with odd behavior. People have that. So people hear panic and assume irrationality. But confusion does not automatically equal delusion. And interestingly enough, Brandon Lawson was found, I believe, pretty close to where his car, he parked his car, and the remains were found that were actually his. So obviously, he was not paranoid or delusional, because something did end up happening to him, and that is still a mystery. So thank you for tuning in to Grace and Gavel, where truth meets compassion. My name is Buffy. I'm an almost 18-year criminal defense attorney. If you got value from this, please feel free to like and subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate it. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.